Hello, hello, hello. It's time to be mellow. It's time to be free and happy. Welcome to Stream of Consciousness. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 125. It is the evening, and I have the soft lamp light lighting my beautiful face. And today I did something fun. I explored a little bit with one of those AI art bots that creates a original art image based on prompts that you give it. And I wanted to show you one that I did this morning where I kind of gave the prompt colorful stream, boy leaning over the water, flowers, sunset, watercolor vibes as an idea of wanting to see like, hey, maybe this could be something to use for stream of consciousness. And so here it is. Oh, I got to share my screen. Bang. And I really identify with this. I identify with this as an aspect of my habitat, you know? Like there is this rich, colorful, swarmy unknown sitting right here in front of me, available to me whenever I want to lean in and cup my hands and take out some of that fresh West water and drink it in or splash it on my face or just simply throw it in the air and recognize that, water is around us at all times. Water is an aspect of the air. Water is clouds. Water is our bodies. And I've recently felt, I guess in the past year or two, I've kind of caught a lot of glimpses of how metaphors or analogies about water have many different applications into how I live my own life. And, one of the ways that has occurred to me is how I naturally fill up spaces like this room, um, and any room I've ever lived in, that the way that my life flows is just kind of if it's put away, it leaves my mind. So, especially something like a hotel room or an Airbnb, that when I was on my road trip last year, there was a lot of places where I would just find myself scattering things about because in a super short term environment, putting things in drawers for me is the fast track to fucking forgetting things and losing shit. And I'm wanting the things out of my bag so that I can see what I have and what I need and what I'm doing, and I'm figuring out how, like, stuff that I use, this frisbee has been sitting on my piano for weeks, and my pair of joggers has been sitting on the edge of the closet for weeks. And to me, I just kind of see that as the way that in a watery world, the edges of the flow accumulate the debris and the algae, excuse me, and living intimately with someone in a shared bedroom has really been an eye-opener in a way where a lot of my core experiences throughout my life of being privy to hearing someone's opinion about how I'm choosing to keep my space tidy or untidy was my mother. Super type A. A single thing on a counter is like stressful to her mind. And so her coming into a space where I am like the complete opposite gave me a lot of feeling like I was doing something wrong, feeling like I needed to not actually keep things tidy, but like keep maintain a low level illusion that I was living in a way that she wasn't going to be stressed out. And I think my mom was undergoing a bit of, trying out different ways of being like, you need to clean your room, but never holding me to some real, like, I wasn't ever punished for it. I wasn't ever withheld anything for it, but it was like, there was like a passive aggressive way of her not trying to be overbearing, but me in my head recognizing like, mom, that you do not live here. Like, the only experience you have of this is when you come in here to talk to me, or like to wake me up in the mornings. And when I can now recognize that from that experience in my childhood home, feeling like, oh, mom, I don't care, but you care. So now I have to do something about it because you care. Like, where's my autonomy? When I reached a place of being able to do my own thing, I like just went hard on knowing that no one else is in charge of me. I was stressed out by other people by my mom being upset. I'm circling. In a rebellious way, I was like, oh, I couldn't comfortably be as messy as I wanted to without hearing about it from my mom until I did something to appease her stress. Now I can be as messy as I want. And again, it was when I was also heavily smoking weed. So a big part of that was not being as conscious or aware or worried about what I actually like or what I actually want. It's like, and I think that's an interesting commentary on what are the habits that you in your life have chosen, and what are the habits that feel as if they just happened upon you through your circumstance, through your coping mechanisms. And when I can now give myself the tool of thinking about myself in a watery way, I can have some compassion for myself and can recognize that, like, yeah, like water is life, but I don't want my house to be flooded. I don't want my cup of water to be spilling everywhere. I don't want to dump it on my computer. I don't want to let my comfortability with mess allow the mess to get so big that now I'm stepping over trash or clothes or clutter, and then I become comfortable stepping over stuff, and then soon it becomes a huge mountain that then starts to feel like, oh, I don't want to clean. And recognizing now, living with Lane, that yeah, no one else is No one else is in charge of helping me keep my space clean but me. And I can recognize what small work I can do every day to put forth little tiny efforts so that a mountain of things never piles up. And so that I don't put someone that I love in a position where they have to say, hey, this is getting really messy. Are you planning to, could you? Because, like, she will say that to me, and she has. And having open communication and then recognizing that when there's less and less passive aggressive behavior from the people in my life trying to talk to me, it really highlights how passive aggressive I am with others and shows me exactly what I often do. And it's always been more comfortable for me because I'm so conflict averse that it feels like, golly, how am I going to, like, I get I get into my little brain and say, oh man, I wish they would do that thing. And then I will say, they haven't done that thing. Oh, man, they really ain't fucking doing their thing. And I will let it build up to get into anger because I'm so intimidated and I feel as if it will be uncomfortable for me to speak my truth. And I don't like that it's more comfortable for me to drag myself into self-pity and anger and blame and internal passive aggression and then putting off my own tidiness because someone else hasn't been tidy, so why should I? And that is such a slippery slope of feeling like my happiness is in the hands of someone else who I think should know what I prefer without me having to say it. And that's such a great lesson. That is such a great lesson for me to recognize, like, I put other people in those positions, and when I'm hearing clear, loving communication, but someone not fearing conflict and someone not fearing that conflict will lead to a strain in relationship, a grudge, a backlash in some way, that's really important. And that's what I'm building in my life. And I really do see so much of my suppressed patterns of rooting myself in negativity coming out when I have true, honest relationships and that become mirrors that show me exactly what it is that I've been covering up, exactly what it is in my behavior that I've been stepping over and hoping that it will just clean itself up, hoping that one day someone else will say, hey, Wes, we should clean all your stuff up right now. Ready? And I'd be like, yes, thank you. And I might need that sometimes, but I don't want to need that. And I can be that person to say, hey, Wes, Now would be a great time to clean up that little bit of stuff you got everywhere. Because the realization is that, again, my classic rebellious nature of just not wanting to do what my fucking mom told me to do out of a desire to differentiate myself, to express, hey, what bothers me or what bothers you doesn't bother me, so this isn't a problem to me. And then I root myself so much in that story of this isn't a problem to me because I want to be right. I want to be right. I wanted my mom to be wrong. She said, "This is a mess." And then she'd say, doesn't this drive you nuts that all your clothes are everywhere? And I'd say, no, I'm fine with it. And perhaps in the truth of my experience of living in that messy childhood bedroom was that I wished it was clean. And that's huge. That's the being unwilling to admit that you've been doing something in a way that you don't like. If this is how I've let it get, then the way for me to feel okay about it is not, hasn't been for me to say, I really should clean this up. It's, well, this is how I like it. And it's not. I like to have clean stuff. I like to mop up my space after I use it, and it'll get wet tomorrow. And the water will, lots of the water will evaporate. And lots of the things are okay to be building up in their little places. If it becomes where it goes, then that's okay. But I know that doesn't go there. But now it feels like it does because it's been there for weeks. Right? I feel like I like a messy room because I'm constantly telling my mom I do. Because I don't want her to be right about the fact that I just don't want to stop watching TV for 10 minutes to pick up all my shit. My desk, my whole life, just like a knick-knack table, just like just covered, a cup from 5 months ago, like papers that I'll never look at, like all these things that in a way often would start to become invisible to me because then, well, my desk is messy, so if I want to use my desk as a desk, then there's a lot of work to do. So then I started to say, well, I don't even use a desk. But I love to have a clean fucking desk, you know? And I think that, yeah, I mean, this is all just about self awareness and not, and letting go of shame, letting go, like I heard from Pete Holmes, who you should check out his podcast. It's one of my favorites, has been for years and years. But he said something a while back about trying to seek out opportunities or moments of feeling humiliated every day, of being humiliated. Do you know how, like, we want to avoid humiliation, don't we? But guess what? We also want to do? We also want to be humble. Humiliation, humble. To not be afraid of saying, wow, I really let this room get bad. You're right, Mom. Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me of what I know, but that I've been distracting myself from because I'm afraid of admitting that I don't know how to take care of myself right now. And as a child, I shouldn't have known. But I do think there's a level of masculinity and what I witnessed from my father. My father, 100 times greater, of being protective and wanting to always have a way to weasel out and be like, well, but I'm still right, but my way's the right way. Well, I'm handling it. I'm handling it. Well, that's no, but you said, right? Of being like, Dave, you just lied. Well, but you were the one, and immediately flip it. But, if I've done something wrong, phew, I'm going to point to your wrongness so that I'm not the only one, so that I can distract you and me from my wrongness or from my mistake. I don't want to be using right or wrong, but there are mistakes that we make. It was a mistake to let my room get messy because the bigger the mess, the harder it is to clean. The longer I let it go, the bigger it gets. The longer I let it go, the bigger it gets. And then the longer I let it go, the easier it is to create a storyline about my own preferences to relieve me from having to take action to correct a mistake that I've made. Ooh, that's tea. Truth, my guy. All right. Fucking post that shit on TikTok, son. All right. We are winding down. It's a late night stream, so let's send it to bed. I'm gonna close us off with an epic freestyle. When I was on my trip last year, end of 2020 into through the summer of 2021, which I guess now has been over a year ago because I haven't been traveling since, I guess, early August. So yeah, it was literally about an exact year ago when I kind of officially ended my travels. And throughout that trip, I was in a position where, for the most part, I was living in my car, and I didn't know anyone. So my outlet, my vehicle to expressing myself was through talking into the podcast, into TikTok, and into freestyle rapping. And I created albums. You should go check them out on YouTube and SoundCloud. But yeah, so I'm really proud of these. I don't know which one I'm going to pick, but it's going to be awesome. So let's close off today's episode 125. 125. Oh, I wanted to calculate this. So like I said, I'm committing to 365 because that's just classic. I'm not going to do it in 365 days. I'm going to commit. Wes, don't podcast every day, bro. Live your fucking life sometimes, okay? That's okay. But 365 more podcasts with the intention to be honing my craft, to be building my business, to be building a community around conscious conversations, self-awareness, and trusting your stream. And 122, the Ikigai episode. So what's 122 plus 365? So that would be 122 would be 422, 427, 487. So we're on our way to episode 487 of Stream of Consciousness. I hope you'll be with me for all or part of that, and maybe you joined in at episode 420 and now you're just going back through the archives. Welcome, dear friend. I welcome you. Like I just said, welcome. Okay, let's listen to some epic music that I created, and I'm awesome, and you're awesome too. I'm Conscious Wes. Be your stream of conscious best. Bye. always reaching for the next moment. Fading out, fading in, fading into existence. All my mind is on the highway I'll take to get somewhere else tomorrow. I like to look instead at the place where I am. Fade in and fade out. Likely I'm feeling like I'm on the downhill, but you could not be proud. I look at you and you've been looking down. Fade in, fade out. You don't always really have to count all of your achievements. I've been looking for the reason to fade in and fade out. I'm gonna make this life really count. Fade in and fade out. I'm finally showing up in a way that I'm proud. I used to feel some type of way. I felt like life was on delay, like I was waiting for someone else to say, here you go, here's the life you've dreamed. Here you go, right into my lap. Here you go, yeah right. Here you go, baby, here you go. Fade in and fade out. I've been feeling like I want my life to really count. Fade in and fade out. I've been searching for a reason to look into your eyes. Fade in and fade out. I'm gonna make my life really count. Fade in and fade out. This love is overflowing, can you feel it now? Fade in and fade out. My love, can you see it? It's strong and I'm learning how. Fade in and fade out. Fade in and fade out. So, I believe in you, and I believe that we are the ones we were meant to find right here in this moment. Fade in, fade out, comes back around. Go easy on yourself. It's gonna be okay.
Wow, 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 wow.